It sounds like you had challenges for a while. Why did you stay so long? Like, what sort of beliefs? What was your thinking as far as that?
Yes, very simply, I was raised Catholic, and divorce is a sin. Mm-hmm. And so that spiritual component of it, and I'm very spiritual now, you know. I love God and love Jesus. And the way that I was raised was that, you know, divorce was a big sin. And so you did what you had to do to grind it out and stay divorced. To stay married. And if there were times, ups and downs in a typical marriage, you just stuck it out. And so that's what I did. And I know at the end of our marriage, when we were doing counseling, I would still be going to counseling now, trying to save it. And until she filed divorce papers on me, I was really in it, which is so strange because I was so unhappy. And after doing my recovery, as I call it, it's kind of funny now because I was really trying to save something that I was so unhappy with.
How did you learn? What was your recovery like? How did you learn to thrive after that situation?
Yes. When she filed divorce papers on me, I had already moved out from our home and I was living in an apartment for about 6 months. And then she filed divorce papers and we went through our divorce. Fortunately, it was fairly amicable. We didn't get lawyers or anything like that. We used a mediator because even though we were divorcing, we could still speak to each other civilly. And I stayed in my apartment. And so I had about a year by myself. And it was a very, initially very sad 6 months, the first 6 months, because I was trying to figure out why I had been such a poor husband to the point where I had caused us to become divorced and, you know, really why I had failed being a good husband. And so it was a very eye-opening experience, but through constant prayer, much meditation every day, I was still working a lot, but I really took the time to stop and really start looking deeply within myself. And what I recognized was that I was a good person, I was a strong person, and I was really getting beat up a lot when I had very, very poor boundaries. I was letting somebody tell me who I was, and if I didn't believe it, I was getting beaten up for it, and to the point where I started to believe it. So the first 6 months was very introspective, very hard, a lot of crying, a lot of questioning about who I was as a person and as a man and as a husband. And then the second 6 months, I started to come out of the dive, and it was such a gloriously hard, sad, fun experience because I had realized that I'm a good person, I'm a good, strong man, I'm a great father, and I was putting boundaries in. I was getting boundaries now where I was telling myself, okay, this is long-winded, but okay. Initially I was a confirmed bachelor. I had accepted that I would rather be happy and alone for the rest of my life rather than in a relationship and unhappy. And once I realized that the rest of my life, I was going to live my life. And I was going to be happy and I was going to be a wonderful dad. And if someone wanted to join me in that life, fantastic. If not, fantastic. Either way, I was going to be happy. And once I realized that, and again, a lot with God's grace and strength, once I realized that, that's where I started to climb back up out of the hole.
Really good. So what else have you learned from the situation? Because it's been a while and you can look back and now you're married and all of that.
Yeah. So. Really, our happiness cannot start with anyone else. Our happiness has to start with us.
Amen.
We have to be happy. We have to be healthy. Because when you find such a magnificent person like you, and when we met, we had both had done our recovery.
Done our work, yes.
Yep, we had done our work. And we were in such a good position. We were so happy and thriving that everything now in the relationship it's just so much fun. We love each other dearly. We do our daily devotion. God is the third person in our relationship.
Yes.
But now after doing all of this hard work, we're thriving together, and I've just never been happier in my life because I have found the person that is my equal, is my teammate, is my love. She's my greatest cheerleader. We talk about everything and anything, which is super important, to be honest, all the way honest. Don't hold anything back. And if you find the right person who receives that information and doesn't judge you because of it, simply loves you and understands it, because no one has had a perfect life, that's how we're really thriving.
Barry, thanks for sharing all of that.
You're welcome.
And you're living brighter regularly, and
Yes.
I get the advantage of you're living brighter with me. We have a wonderful marriage, and I'm very grateful for our friendship and the
Yes.
equality and the love and respect that we share.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing about your background and what you went through, and I think that's very helpful.
You're welcome.